And I was really disappointed because I was somebody who truly dreamed of being on Ellen. Hello and welcome back to this special little corner of the internet where you and I get to hang out and talk about life. Boy, do I have a story for you. As you can see from the title, today I will be talking about the time I was almost on the Ellen show with Miss Ellen DeGeneres herself. I've got some tea for you. That's right, I've got hot tea, and it's not just about my Ellen situation. It is about custom skincare. There are other brands out there that claim that they make custom skincare, but what they actually do is they look at your quiz or the information you've submitted about your skin type, and they just match you to an existing formula that they already have, whereas Function of Beauty is the most customizable skincare. For their moisturizer, their serum, and their face wash, there's over 3.1 billion unique combinations they can create, just for you and your unique skincare goals and needs. Introducing you to Function of Beauty face products. Thank you to Function of Beauty for partnering with me once again to sponsor this video. You guys know I am obsessed with Function of Beauty custom hair care products. So when they reached out and told me that they are now launching custom skincare products, girl, you know I had to try it out, and I very quickly fell in love. Just like with the hair care, you just have to fill out a really simple short quiz on their website where you tell them about your skin type, your skin goals, how strong you want the fragrance to be, or if you want it fragrance free if you have sensitive skin. I like the fragrance. It's very spa-like, if you will. You can also tell them what formula you'd like the product to come in. There's different options of formula for the face wash as well as for the moisturizer. And the moment I opened the box and saw the products, the first thing I thought when I picked them up was like, damn, this packaging is such nice quality. It's really nice quality. So well done, Function of Beauty. Excited for your new product launch. One of the big things that I wanted my skincare products to be was brightening. It's something I look for in everything that I use on my skin, whether it's makeup products or skincare products. I just really love to look glowy and healthy. So what do you think? Do I look glowy and healthy?
I do. I think you do.
I have to say, I've been really particularly liking this moisturizer as my morning cream under my makeup. I struggle to find morning creams, or day creams if you will, that leave me feeling hydrated enough without leaving too much texture on my skin. So definitely have been a big fan of using it for that. Yes, Lavender! It's really nice. You also get to pick the name that's on the product since it is custom. So I have right here my serum. Look how pretty this bottle is. And then it says Function of Molly Burke. They are 100% vegan and cruelty-free. They don't use sulfates, toxins, parabens, or GMOs. We love that. A clean queen. For a limited time, just during the launch of this new product line, you can get 10% off any of the skincare bundles only using my link below. So make sure to click that and check out the new line. You will also get a free selfie headband so you can like wrap it around your head to protect your hair while you're doing your skincare routine and take like a cute little mirror selfie, and then it reads the right way around. So cute. Get total savings of over 20% as a part of the new launch. Shop now before it's gone. All right. Let's get into the story, shall we? So let's go all the way back to August of 2017. I went on a trip to Ireland, which is where my family is from. My brother was living there at the time. He now lives in London, England. My grandma is there, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. I have a lot of family living in the Dublin area. So we went to visit. My mom, dad, and I, and Gallup all got on the plane and went over to England. Nope, that was last summer. That was summer 2019. This is summer 2017. We went to Dublin. And we had a great trip. I vlogged it. Good times were had by all. And on one of my last days there, we received an email from the team at the Ellen show. And they mentioned that they found me through a video I had done many years ago, again, probably in 2017, where I described celebrities that I've either never seen or like hadn't seen obviously since before I was 14, like don't really remember what they look like. So I just kind of described celebrities based off of their personalities and what I know of them. It was this video right here. And Ellen was one of the celebrities that I mentioned in that video. Ellen DeGeneres, somebody I just love so much. She's my queen. So the Ellen producers found me through that video and were getting ready for the new fall season. So they were prepping and picking guests and all of that. So they reached out interested in having me on the show. Now, in that video, I mentioned that my dream was to meet Ellen, and if you've listened to my audiobook, It's Not What It Looks Like on audible.com, you know I mentioned in there that it's been my dream to meet Ellen. I did a vision board when I was 15. For those who don't know what vision boards are, they're kind of like a little collage where you map out the things that you want in life. So I'll often like put mine in quarters where it's like health, career, life, relationships, and I map out all the things that I want for myself, the things that I envision in my future. And the kind of idea is that by really putting it out there into the universe, by putting it physically onto a piece of paper, even though I can't see it, it's like bringing that energy to it, and the world is seeing what I want and hopefully returning it. And I've been doing these, they've become trendier and trendier over the past few years. I've personally been doing them since I was 14. My mom trying to like help me in my journey to recovery after my vision loss when I was dealing with mental illness and I was really, really struggling and I was feeling very lost and confused about my life. She was trying anything she could to help me, recenter myself and refocus and get inspired and feel driven and excited about my future again and kind of the new way in which I was going to live my life. And that's when she found out about vision boards and I made my first one. So I've been doing them for a really long time. I'm like an OG vision boarder, if you will. And they straight up work. That's all I'm gonna say. They straight up work. And on the vision board that I did when I was 15, I put Meet Ellen. And the crazy thing is, I put a lot of like really out there things on that vision board and they've all come true except meeting Ellen. It was like the only thing left on that OG vision board that hadn't come true yet. And we still had that vision board. And I had checked off winning Miss Teen Canada International Beauty Pageant. I had checked off being in a Dove commercial. Like the most obscure, random things that I could have put actually had come true. They actually happened. Even on my most recent vision board that I made like a year and a half ago, I put getting a kitten. Check that off. So it's just really interesting to look back at vision boards that you've made over the years and be like, wow, what of these things have I already actually accomplished for myself? Which is really, I don't know, it's just really fun. It's like a way of mapping your life and scrapbooking it almost, but like scrapbooking it before it even happens, if that makes sense. So yeah, that was the only thing on my OG vision board that hadn't come true yet. So when they reached out, I was like, oh my God, this is it. And I was so excited. And I told them in my interview, my first interview with them, I said, look, this is crazy, but I did this vision board and I told them this whole story that I just told you. And they were like, wow, could you send us a scan of that? So I sent them a scan of that and they said to me, we love you and we'd like you to talk to our higher up producer. And so then in the midst of my vacation where I'm not working, I'm taking time out of my family time with family members that some of them I hadn't seen in many, many years. And I'm only there for 10 days. So I'm taking time out to take these like Zoom calls, although Zoom wasn't really a thing then. So like, I think it was on Skype. Yeah, it was Skype calls. And I, that night, have like a 2-hour call with the higher up producer. And she was asking me all about myself, my life, the things I care about, the things that I do, my relationships with my family, my struggles, my triumphs, all these different things. And they were asking us to send them scans of my childhood photos of me as a little girl around the time that I was diagnosed, me with my first guide dog at the time that I went blind, winning the Miss Teen Canada pageant, like it had on my vision board. My manager was in touch with them as well, trying to like lock everything in, having phone calls with them, and they actually told us that I had to go on a media hold. So that meant that I was not allowed to pursue any media. I couldn't go on any other TV shows, I couldn't do magazine articles, I couldn't do radio interviews, podcasts, any form of media I was not allowed to do. Which I totally understand if there's a story that is like a super current thing, like somebody who just went viral and like the Ellen show wants to be the only one to lock them in, right? Because if Ellen does it but like all the Good Morning America already did it, it's not that interesting anymore. So it's common when something is a really timely story that people will be put on a media hold. However, my story wasn't timely. I hadn't gone viral for something. There wasn't a bunch of other shows reaching out trying to get me all for the same storyline. So it was kind of weird that they put me on a media hold. And it was also really frustrating because I was at a time in my career where where I was getting ready to move to LA. My career was starting to really bubble up, and I was kind of right at the turning point of my growth. And so it was actually a really big deal for my career to be put on a media hold, because my whole life, I've done a lot of media. I've done a lot of media as a YouTuber. I've done a lot of media as a motivational speaker. I've done a lot of media as an ambassador for different charities. So I've been really heavily involved in media exposure since I was very, very young. So it's not like I'm not often doing media. So it was like really detrimental for my career that they were putting me on a media hold, especially because, like I said, my story that I would have been sharing with Ellen wasn't a storyline that was relevant to any other outlet. So that was really frustrating for us. And so my manager kept checking in kind of like every week over the next month or so, and they told us like, hey, we'll call you when we find the slot, when we find what slot we're gonna put you in for the fall season. So they basically said like, you're gonna be on, like we just have to find the right slot for you. So my manager kept in touch with them and their team saying, hey, like any updates on when you're gonna slot her in? And eventually they just ghosted my manager and stopped talking to him. And after about 4 months, like by the time it was November, end of November, I was like, well, I think it's safe to say I'm not gonna be on this season. Like, I think it's safe to say that I should just pursue other media opportunities and like take myself off of a media hold essentially. And I was really disappointed because I was somebody who truly dreamed of being on Ellen, and they knew that. They had that vision board. They heard me say it in the video where they originally found me. They heard me talk about it in my interviews with them. They asked me all about why I like Ellen, my favorite things about Ellen. And I told them, as a minority woman, as a woman with a disability who has dreamed of working in media my entire life, my two inspirations always were Ellen and Oprah. I idolized Ellen and Oprah. From the time I was a little girl, I would go home from school and everybody else would be watching like SpongeBob and things like that, and I would go home and I would watch talk shows because that was like my dream. But in particular, it was Ellen and Oprah because they were two women who were using their platform to make a difference for minorities. You know, Oprah is an incredibly empowered Black female who has been one of many people who have been able to help make a difference for Black people in entertainment. And Ellen has done the same for the LGBTQ plus community. And so I kind of grew up dreaming of being that person for the disabled community, or at least one of the people who could help do that for the disabled community. So for me, I like really looked up to them for so many reasons and like just wanted to thank her for inspiring me to believe that no matter what, I could be in entertainment. I could find a space in entertainment. And so it's hard because like they knew how much this would mean to me, and it just didn't matter to them. They just didn't care, obviously. You know, like you wouldn't put somebody on a media hold, get all their childhood photos, tell them they're gonna be slotted for this season, knowing how much it matters to them, and then like after a couple months just ghost them. And so it really hurt, but I was like, you know what? I get it. Things happen. Other more current, trending topics come up that they have to slot people in for. Like, maybe next season. They know about me now. I know. And for years, I'd had followers, I'd had friends, I'd had people telling me like, oh, I wrote to Ellen about you. So I was like, you know, they finally saw it. They finally know who I am. They finally found me. So at least I'm like in their system. I'm in their backlog. They have me. They know about me. Like maybe one day. But hey, it's, you know, October 2020 and that phone never rang again. So at this point, I've given up. And at the time that I wrote my audiobook, this had already happened. I had already almost been on Ellen. And so I still put it in the book. I was still like, maybe one day. And people were like, oh my God, of course, one day it'll happen for sure. And I think I've just given up. Like it's not gonna happen. And at this point, I know 2 or 3 other people who've had the exact same circumstance. Exact same. Gone through many rounds of interviews, have incredible stories, and are told you're gonna be on, and then never hear back. It's happened to at least 2 other people that I know of, like by name off the top of my head. And I feel like there's a third, but I can't think of who they are right now. So at this point, I'm like, I guess this is just what they do. And maybe other shows do that too. I don't know. This is the only show that I've had that experience with myself. And it's really disappointing because she is somebody that meant so much to me. And I know that there's so many other people outside of just her who contribute to making the decisions and booking the guests. But it was definitely something that really disappointed me. And to be honest, like still years later, like makes me sad when I think about, because yeah, it just, I know how excited I was and what a big moment it would have been for me for many reasons. And I held on to that hope for so many years that it would happen. And just in the past few months with everything that's been going on, I've come to terms with the fact that it's not gonna happen. And that's okay, because there's other people. Maybe I'll get to meet my other idol, Oprah. Who knows? But yeah, that is the story of the time that I was almost on Ellen. I hope you guys enjoyed this story, found it interesting. Again, don't forget to check out Function of Beauty's new skincare launch and shop before the deal is over. Thank you to them for sponsoring this video. I hope you had fun hanging out with me once again. Hit the subscribe button if you did, and that bell for notifications so you know every time that I upload. Click this video for more Molly, or this one over here. Love you. Bye.